Picard has finally premiered, and I liked it. Hi guys, my name is Rhea Park, and this is Approach the Nerd. And in this episode, we are reviewing the pilot episode, episode 1, of CBS All Access, Picard. Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I'm gonna not really do my whole spoiler, scene by scene, shot by shot, character by character review, but I am gonna give you an overview of what I liked and what I noticed. So there's probably gonna be a little bit of spoilers in this. So if you have not watched the episode, go watch it and come back. And a little, as I like to say, housekeeping. I stole from my friend Blurred Without Fear. Check out his channel. A lot of the reviews that I've been reading before I decided to do my video review online, I have not agreed with. And some of those things are that Picard is very political and they can't have a Star Trek show or series that was political. So a little bit about me. I love Star Trek. I used to watch it with my mother. My mother's from the UK. Star Trek is huge in the UK. I've seen every incarnation of Star Trek, as well as read the IDW comics. So I don't call myself quote unquote a Trekkie, though I could, because I'm not going to be one of those people. But yeah, I guess kind of if you're gonna say it in terms of love for Star Trek, I am a Trekkie. Star Trek has always been political from inception. Gene Roddenberry's vision was basically formed to deal with what was going on in the current events of his time, which if you look at the timeline of the OG Star Trek series, we had Uhura and we had Sulu on the bridge as respected officers in the 60s. So, I mean, if that's not political, I don't know what is. So all those people out there that are getting triggered saying, oh, politics, stop. Star Trek has always been political. Move on. The next thing that is really weird to me is socialism. I was like, oh, we live in a socialist society where people don't have to work and blah, blah, blah. And that's close to communism. Okay, if I lived in the future and I had basically every area of my house with a replicator device, I probably wouldn't work either. Why would I need to? Everything that I wanted was at the touch of my hands and my voice. And I don't know why the Orville, which is like a parody of Star Trek to me and other sci-fi shows, I love the Orville, but they don't use money either. They basically use their reputation as you know, how they pay for things. It's their money system. Reputation versus physical currency. And it's the same principle. They have their version of replicators that basically can make anything. And no one says anything about that. But here we are in Picard, and because they don't use money, which they've never used money in Star Trek. You know, unless you're a Ferengi who's getting something else as form of payment, that's not a thing in Star Trek. So I just thought that was interesting that that's something that was being said against Picard, which is something that's happened even in the OG and canon series. But you know, whatever. People have to complain about things and be triggered, and that's just what it is. So stop. All right, so moving on. So Picard. Picard is basically set in the year, I want to say it's 2399, but it might be 2389, I'm not sure. But I know it's 2389 or 99. If you know anything about the timelines, then you know the Abramverse movies were the Kelvin timeline, and of course OG Star Trek, TNG, Deep Space Nine, all of that is considered the prime timeline. And it seems to me like Picard is just kind of wedged in the middle, kind of like a bridge between the two. And the reason I say that is because the events of the Romulan supernova happen in Picard's timeline. And that actually first occurred in the Abramverse movies and the Kelvin timeline. So we know that the supernova, occurred, and all the Romulans were basically killed off. And Nero was very angry, being a survivor, that he took it out on Vulcan and destroyed Vulcan, so that they would know how it would feel to lose their world. All this because he also hated Spock. But yeah. So the events outside of, Vulcan obviously did not get destroyed in Picard's universe that we've seen, but Romulus is still gone. A lot of Romulan lives were destroyed. Picard was an admiral who retired from Starfleet, which we never thought. If you remember old school Picard, TNG Picard, we thought he was going down with the ship. He was not ever going to retire or leave. He was going to die at Starfleet. But he left because of his morals, because he had arranged or convinced Starfleet to send all these massive armadas, all these ships out to rescue all the Romulans. Even though Romulans were considered the enemy, he's like, these are lives above, you know, our political issues with them. So he convinced them to save all of the Romulans. But unfortunately, at the same time, there's like a little mini rebellion with the synthetics. And so they did a lot of damage on Mars, to the point where right now in his timeline, Mars is still burning. And Starfleet decided to pull out, and a lot of Romulans died. And Picard could not handle that, because that is not the Starfleet he signed on for. And so essentially he has a lot of hatred now towards what Starfleet has become and what it's morphed into. And I know that triggers a lot of, you know, Trekkie fans too, but I mean, come on. And every Star Trek series reflects the state of the current affairs, and our current government and our status as human beings is pretty poopy right now. We treat each other like crap. So I mean, everything we're seeing is just a reflection of ourselves. So we just need to let it go. So anyway, so we're introduced to a few characters. We have the character Dash, which is actually... So at first I was kind of hoping, because you know I like to do theories on nerd videos, I was really hoping that she was actually Picard's daughter with like the Borg Queen, but she's not. She turns out she's actually, I guess, essentially Data's daughter, made from, I guess, neurons or whatever. Bruce Saxton, if you remember him from the original TNG, he's the one that wanted to come in and like dissect Data to study and see what made him tick, and then make new like synthetics that were like Data and better and more improved. And basically he basically succeeded. He managed to make twins, which we learned in this episode. There's Dodge and Soji, and Dodge is like this, you know, really smart girl who's just accepted into this really prestigious, you know, scientific program in Japan. And when she's celebrating with her, you know, her boyfriend in her apartment, and then these masked people come in and kill her boyfriend. They're about to kill her, and something triggers, like almost like sleeper agent mode, and she ends up killing everyone. And she starts seeing a vision of Picard. And she doesn't know why, but she goes to find him because that's, you know, who she saw. And she has no idea what her connection is to him. She seeks him out. And when they meet, even Picard's kind of like, I've seen you before, and he couldn't figure out where. But then he goes to like the Starfleet archives, and he finds a painting. And he also has these like dreams where he's talking to Data. And there's one where he's doing the painting. And the painting just happens to be named Dash, her name. And it looks exactly like her with the cloak she's wearing, which Data actually painted for Picard and gifted to him 30 years prior. So it's very weird, but we later find out that she is a synthetic that's basically taken from, you know, remnants of Data, and that she has a twin named Soji, and Soji is currently at the Romulan excavation site as a scientist. So we do see that she doesn't know her sister's dead yet, but she doesn't know that from what it looks like, she doesn't know what she is either. And we also are introduced to Narek, who is he's a Romulan character who's, to me, is going to be a little bit shady. But yeah, I mean, the episode was great. We didn't get to see, you know, a lot of the characters that are coming. We did see a really extended preview at the end. So we didn't get to see Riker and Deanna. We didn't get to see, you know, Seven of Nine. We didn't see any of the main characters we're waiting for. Even Bruce Saxton is missing. Since synthetics are now outlawed in Picard's universe, he took it pretty hard and he ran away. We did meet Dr. Agnes. I think her last name is Javar. Who worked or was recruited by Bruce out of Starfleet Academy to help try and develop pretty much Data's, and it didn't work. We learned that the android we see in the trailer that they pulled out was not Data's, like parts of Data or was left over from Data. It was actually B8 or B9. my brain's gone now, but that he, like, before Data died, apparently was trying to download all of the information from his neural net into him, into the, less perfect copy of himself, and it just kept failing because no one's ever been able to duplicate the technology originally used to create Data successfully. But since we had Dajin and we have Soji, that's not necessarily true. So yeah, and there's a lot of mystery going on with Soji too. In the trailer for the next episode, you still have this lady saying you're the destroyer of worlds. So I mean, I don't know if that's a prophecy they have that we're not aware of yet. I don't know. What I do know is that Picard's ragtag team that's going after them is so reminiscent of, like, Firefly and other sci-fi shows that I love, that I'm really, really into it. So I know a lot of Trekkies are like, oh, I'm so used to Star Trek, having these adventures, going to different worlds, meeting aliens, encountering new things. I don't think that's going to stop now. I just think it's going to be a lot more edgier and grittier because Starfleet is not the Starfleet that we know. It is not. The Prime Directive pretty much no longer exists as far as Picard is concerned. It does for him morally, but not for Starfleet. He has written Starfleet completely off. So yeah, it's an interesting take. I think that the episode was really well done. The cinematography is really great. I think that you don't have to be a Trekkie or even know anything about Star Trek to actually watch this. They have a lot of exposition. They have a lot of backstory. So you do get to see, for people who have never even watched TNG and know who Picard is, you can walk into this episode and still have, an entertaining time as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I think that they did a really good job. I did. And I cannot wait for the next one. It looks like we're going to get a lot more action, a lot more character development, and we're going to meet a lot more characters. So I'm excited to see where they take this. And we have 9 more episodes to find out. So I loved it. I would love to know what you think. Please leave me a comment below and let me know. And if you would like to sign up for jury duty, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to know who's next in the nerd ballot, hit the notification bell. Until next time, I can't wait for you to approach the nerd. Bye. Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it, but hey, the party doesn't have to stop now. Click on one of these videos and keep it going.